Hey team, welcome to the Everyone Active podcast. I am one of your hosts, Jo, and our little Michelle is not here to co-host with me today. So you've got me. However, we have got an awesome guest with us today. I'm just looking to my left-hand side and welcoming in Dr Nana Badu. Hello, lovely. How are you doing?
I'm good, thank you. Thank you for having me.
My pleasure. Can you just tell our listeners and viewers what your collective is, what your foundation is, and how come we're going to do this podcast about it today?
Oh, that's really cool. First of all, thank you for having me, and a bit excited, and it's great to talk to you, and I love your energy, by the way.
Oh, thank you.
It's cool. So I'm Dr Nana Badu. I am the founder and CEO of the Badu Group, essentially. So the Badu Sports, Badu Community, and all the stuff around like cafes and all that stuff. So, and really what we are is a social impact organization that looks to drive deeper, positive impact to improve the outcomes for the most underserved groups, to allow them to run their own race and and gain the same access as everyone else, essentially.
To massively be seen, which is so important. And is this sports-based predominantly?
No, it did start off as sports-based because it was the key caveat that was easily understood by wider society. But the deep systematic change is education, it's health, it's just all those basics that everyone kind of seems to get access to. And then, so we do a huge amount in sports and physical activity. We do a huge amount in talent development as well. So we're also looking at what happens if they're better than good. Where's the access for that?
Nice, yeah.
As well. And then there's the education piece around mentorship. And then there's the workforce development, like who else is helping that next journey.
We've got so much to talk about, so excited. Can we delve into you? So I know for a fact that you have an honorary doctorate, which is absolutely amazing. I think you've also got a King's Honours Award.
Yeah.
Tell me about your life, tell me about growing up, and then how did the doctorate come about? How did the honours come about?
Life growing up. So I grew up in East London, where we are situated. And then it was just so, it's quite strange sometimes walking through the park because back in the days you'd be riding through or walking through, and then there'll be the Sunday market that used to be here, or just the guy that's selling their jerk chicken, or something. Yeah. And it's just, it's quite strange, but it's all pretty cool. And so I grew up around here. I lived with my dad in Hackney. And then I went to school in Newham, so across the two boroughs, essentially. And that was what my trot was. Originally born in Ghana, came here when I was younger, like about 10, 11 years old. And then my mum will probably say I've just never been someone who's just satisfied with just this. It's like, I'm always looking at, what's next?
A mover, a shaker, a pusher, glass ceilinger. Amazing.
Literally. And then throughout the years, we built the organization and had an incredible team as well of people. When I say team of people, the organization is quite unique in that it's the very community that it served, it's the community that helped build the organization as well. So that's where we make sure that we're fully aligned. When we talk about the most underserved group, our essential board is the people that the impact is happening to, or happening with, or happening for. And then we did a lot of cool stuff with sports and physical activity, work with a lot of schools as well, employed a lot of people, gave them their first job. I think that at one point, 1,700 young people's first job was with the organization, with our various different summer scheme programs or after school clubs, as well as in-school support. So, and we were really pleased with that in terms of you've had access towards a workforce aspect, which to start breaking down that poverty of knowledge, that access to what else is out there for me. Yeah. And then I believe a few years ago, we've been working with Loughborough University, because aiming higher for me is a big thing, because I'm like, if we're just here and it's meant to be the number one sports university, which it is, how do our young people who who are dreaming aspirationally get access to that and what happens next. And made some really good contacts in there. And I think they just started to observe what we're doing. And then they just thought it was worthy of a honorary doctorate. That's
a huge accolade, though. I'm going to take you back to that school time, back to you growing up in East London. Was there a changing moment, or was there a spark, or was there something that's just like, do you know what? I want to do this. This is where I'm going to go. I'm going to go and open up doors for a lot of people in a lot of my community. Was there a one moment? Was there what's that drive?
I think it's a combination of things, to be honest. I think it's just like life just allows you to experience different situations. And I think for me, I'm always, I'm quite an emotional person. So like, if I don't feel something, or I'm not comfortable, or I feel fearful, or I don't see myself, or even if my dreams feel shrinked a little bit, I like to question that and be like, what is that? So I would say it's a combination of like, sometimes being in poverty. It's a combination of sometimes like feeling fearful of your society around you. And it's like, you'd see the police and be more scared. And it's like, wait, hold on. And so those combination, and then it's also the area that we're living in as well. There was a divide in like people. There was like racism. There was like, so it was just. But then you play sports, and the very people that didn't like you would like you, and they're like, you're my teammate. So you just, I think I would just say it's a combination of things. And I just thought it's just like all our knowledge, like all of us, like all,
totally
like,
as a collective.
Yeah.
Can you just put an era on that? Are we talking 90s? Are we talking noughties? Are we talking 2010s?
No, we're definitely talking 1999, 2000, early 2000. So,
which honestly though isn't that long ago.
No.
And I think that's a massive point that we actually need to share.
Yeah.
That you said it yourself. There was a bias, a prejudice. There still potentially is as well. And you were put, or your community was put, or people you were growing up was put in a different field to then all of a sudden have those barriers lost when you were playing sport. But that's a very mixed message. And I guess that's also now key to this collective and this group and absolute movement that you've got going is it's breaking down barriers. If you can't be seen, if you don't have that role model, how are you ever going to aim for it?
Absolutely. And I think the biggest thing that I started to learn, and I think the key thing for me was that I do not have the capacity or energy to dislike something. I don't have the time for it.
Nice.
So I don't want to challenge the system. I don't want to like convince anyone about like liking me or my children or whatsoever. Just building other collaborations and other tables and just we'll see from there type of thing. Right. Yeah. So I just think that's the thing for me. It was just like, even in my friendship groups or so on, sometimes we all were almost boxed into the different ways that society wanted to educate us. And I had great like working class friends and so on. And it's just, we were all given different messages. However, for me, it was just very much about, okay, like if we can't just let someone or something do this to us, where's the power within us? And I think that's just a bit of me. Like,
yeah, no, I totally get that vibe.
My mom would say I was a difficult child, but like, it's just, if it didn't make sense, I just,
but Mama Bear, look now. I mean, look at this, amazing. But there's a saying that I absolutely love, like find your tribe. And it's just like finding the matching vibes of people, knowing that you as a collective can move forward and make a change. We are currently filming, Hi Team London, at the London Aquatic Centre.
Yes.
So it's an everyone active site. And obviously it was the home of the 2012 Olympics here. And we've had huge events happen. And I think the link between Everyone Active and Badu happened during the British Championships. I think that's how the partnership started.
With the London Legacy Corporation that kind of put us in touch. I think as they took over this site, and then I think the Legacy team wanted to like start the relationship right and give them organizations. And then we came to the aquatics, which was really, I can't believe it took place. Like it's a space that happens, and so
So talk us through that moment. So we've got the British Championships happening in the Olympic venue pool, and Badu is being represented how?
I believe our teams were invited to have a look as well. And also I believe some of our communities were invited to watch and witness the event as well, and which was a really good moment because from them for the first time, seeing it. I don't know if some of them got to do like a training thing with them. And then I believe our coaches, I'm probably getting this wrong, and my team afterwards, I'd be like, you just didn't ever listen to this properly or listen to us. But I believe some of the staff were also like invited down as well. And then I came down, and then I was asked to come and say something on the stage, on the platform, which I wasn't aware of, but we
Ta-da! Platform one day, podcast the next.
Exactly.
Welcome.
Literally, I'm gonna have to start and sign my own autographs and give it to myself after this. And it's like, but yeah, it was that, and then I think afterwards the team, our community engagement team, our sports development team, and the team out here, Everyone Active, just really like bedded down and looked at what are the things that we were going to try and drive collectively, what's the thing that they needed and what's the thing that we needed, and how can we work together to achieve the same outcomes. And ultimately it was access for everyone that the legacy was promised to.
Yep.
And essentially we were like, yes, that's the bit that we want to work with. And then for us, everything's around language, as you can tell. For us, it's listening to partners that are happy to be like to go forward with the challenges and say this is what's happening. They don't want to mask it. They don't want to pretend everything's okay. They want to say this is the problem that we are struggling with or finding challenging, and here's how we would love to have collaboration. So it's not doing to, it's doing with.
Yes.
And I think this is where the partnership here has been really. These are the type of partnership we really value.
That's awesome to hear as well. So the partnership here is based around swim and swimming lessons.
Yes.
And we have various stages of swimming, Everyone Active program, but this is specifically stage 1 and stage 2 swimmers. So these are younger children that may or may not have been in a pool before, have had a swimming lesson, but it's now making these swimming lessons with absolutely skilled coaches accessible and attainable, but also regular. And that's the importance for children, is when they're learning and when they're developing, that they get into habits that they can understand, that they can learn and they can develop. I think the beauty of the partnership as well is that, Badu, you had some coaches on board already for swimming that also wanted to then upskill to their level 2. And we've brought on board some of your coaches to continue swimming lessons here. I don't know the number and I might be dropping you right on the spot, but do you know roughly how many children have been through those swimming lessons?
I don't know, but every time I know they said they had a waiting list, so which is really good. But yeah, I'm not sure. I think the classes have been full every time I've come, and I know within the community people are asking for more time or more lanes.
That's awesome.
So, which is great. That's what we mean by access.
Yeah.
Like they know that something is taking place, and then it's giving them their own power to say we want to be involved.
Yeah.
That's the bit where we get to work.
Definitely. What else is involved in that? I do have actually, a little birdie has told me that actually there might be adult swim lessons also on the table at some point.
Yes. So probably just going back a little bit in terms of us. So as an we were working with someone else, a really good friend of mine who invited us to do a triathlon for the first time. First of all, it was the first time I heard of the sport in itself.
Okay.
Like, what is it? And don't forget, I've worked in sports development for how long?
Yeah.
And I was just like, they have to swim, run, cycle. I was like, okay, where do we do the swimming bit? And that's when like the conversation started.
Nice.
So I remember calling my sports development officer at the time. She was about 20 or 21. And one of the key things about Badu that you'd find is that when we talk about legacy, it's been planted with the very community. I think I said at the top, but you see our team that like almost 85% of them are below age 28 or so on, or 26, I think the average. So, and they would have been with us for 5-6 years. So they would have grown up knowing what their ultimate aim is. So with the swimming aspect, I then called up 5 young people. One of them was a okay swimmer. The rest were not confident swimmers at all. One was another like not a confident swimmer, and then the other 3 don't know how to swim at all. And we had 4.5 weeks to do a triathlon and swim in open water.
From a non-swimmer?
Non-swimmer.
Holy moly.
And that's, and everyone always says to me, how did you get them to say yes? And I'm always trying to explain that the yes bit happened at the time when they didn't believe in themselves. So it's the time they didn't see themselves in any space, it's the time and someone still believed in them. So if I was to call and say, hey, should we do this? That trust has already been built.
Yeah.
And they just know like, well, we've come this far and we haven't come this far to just come this far. So they did it. We put in a program and they learned to swim. And then we struggled to find swimming teachers at first. It was too short notice. Everyone that was trained through the system was like, we can't do this. It's too dangerous whatsoever. But then
I can see the smirk on your face. So those of you that aren't actually watching, there was somebody that was potentially saying, no, this can't happen. Yeah. And I've just seen a spark. Yeah, and his face go, yeah, no, that's not an answer I'm satisfied with.
Literally, we thank those people for seeing us, and then we moved on to find, because if we're thinking about it and we see, and when I see the human beings that are ready to go, there has to be a way for something to happen. And so, and we just haven't found, like you said, the right person. And this is what I mean about energy. It's like, if I'm not going to spend time convincing you, if you're in the place of power to try and see people, but really what I'm doing is finding people that are happy to challenge themselves. So we found one swimming teacher, and he lived really outside London. He's done triathlon, but he's like, it's tough, but we'll give it a good go. And I was like, that's all I need. Like literally, that's all, honestly, that's all communities need. Someone to say, this is hard or this is challenging, whatever it is, but we're going to give it a good go anyway and find out where we land. And then fast forward, they did really well, but that wasn't the thing for me. That we once I saw that it wasn't that triathlon wasn't the thing, we did it. And I think next time we got 26 people to do it. All the rest, the new 26 had never learned to swim, and they did it again, but they had a bit more time. So they had 2-3 months to do it. We always were given the tickets a bit late. It was only any tickets that wasn't sold, then we'll offer. It's almost the crumbs, but it's fine. We're still going to move with it. and we did that. Once again, throughout those times, the biggest thing for me is that the access to water, particularly for our like people from the Black and brown communities, and the access to the teachers, the knowledge, the time privileges that they might not have, was just because we didn't have sometimes the culturally trained practitioners that can see them and see how, like, see that life is a little bit more challenging, but how can we adapt to make sure that they can still, we call it get on the start line, which is learning to swim is getting on the start line.
Absolutely.
Because once you have that, you can then choose what you want to do next. You can be a pilot now, because without being able to swim, you can't be a pilot. So which it links to so much. And so we then had swimming teachers train. We had one of the swimming teachers become an assessor or a qualifier. So we built that in-house, who then can support the legacy aspect of more and more people not finding it hard to access that.
Absolutely. I think that's a huge thing when I was learning about the project here. That you trained up, like the swim teachers have gone from nothing to learning to swim, to coaching, to now actually being able to assess and get the swim teachers through. Because it was actually even after COVID, there was a national shortage of swim teachers. And swimming's such an essential skill, as you said. It's not just a life-saving skill, which we associate with it. There are industries, there are jobs, there are qualifications out there that actually say, if you can't swim, if you can't survive in water, you can't even enter this space. And just breaking down those barriers
Absolutely. And there are, like, I always like to, I love history. So like I come from Ghana, so we have this thing called Sankofa, which is like, you have to go and see the knowledge before you move forward. So like ancestors have said something and so on. And so for me, it's understanding 3 different key challenges. Challenge 1 is, which is the surface level, which is very much of, a lot of our communities can't cream their skin after a school swimming lesson. So then there's so many connotations. So therefore school swimming lessons, I'm not like most children will go, or how the water like breaks their hair sometimes and so on. So there's so many other things. And then also I think we've got like soul caps and stuff, but even just to wear the right what do you call it, swimming cap to help you, those things. And then the key underlying aspect is, which is like we call it a receipt. The facts is that there are over 9 million of us at the bottom of the ocean during the transatlantic slavery. So drowning is something. So you're not trying to deal with just this. You're looking at this and unpicking it and then ensuring that like this happened, but what we're going to do is rewrite.
It's not going to happen again.
Exactly, and rewrite that narrative and rewrite that thing, and you're gonna be the person that told the next story about what happened after that.
100%. Can we tap into the education side of Badu? Like, does it outreach into? I know of like the community is massive, and I love the fact that it's people from the community are now getting into those positions and they're mover and shaker positions. How do they then outreach to schools? Is it to other clubs? Like, how do people even access you, and what is that voice? What is that noise out there?
We could do a lot better in sharing our story and our knowledge. I think I'll be honest with my marketing, probably gonna listen to this. I always want to try and get the recipe right before we start shouting about it, because I don't feel we've achieved anything yet in terms of what needs to be done around like access and inclusion. However, what we then did is we worked with schools. So we delivered sports and physical activity in schools. And so therefore it allowed us to almost like work with the education system, be a support to the system around physical activity, and then also be able to let parents and family know about what else exists outside of this, outside of just this. And I don't even want to say this in terms of just academics, because I think academics is everywhere where you're learning. So it's just, rather than just your grade at school, there's so many things about you as a human being that sports and physical activity can help you discover. Recently with the huge increase of mental health aspect, no one is actually linking that back to the decline of arts and culture and physical activity within education. And it's just like, sometimes I listen to something and I just go, there's some really clever people that are saying things that are wrong and haven't linked it to the simplest thing, is that we're not getting people moving enough for being creative.
Absolutely.
They're not building themselves. And like from an early age, and because we're trying to build them to have a grade.
Yeah. It's like we've got, and I suppose it's a movement, it's a behaviour, it's everything. It's not just a membership with everyone active, is that we've recognised that there are pillars that make up being human, and it's not just movement, it's brain, it's your sleep, it's your recovery, it's all that important collective, but also you tapped on it as well. 100% sports, arts, everything developmental wise, creativity wise, everything wise is being lessened due to potentially funding, due to potentially lack of space, due to potentially there's more children in classes than there've been before. So we are now going to grow up with a generation of children that actually haven't been exposed to any form of movement and don't know what running around a playground looks like, or can't access a football. And that's like, it's like sometimes we've gone backwards a bit to then try and come forwards. And it's like, how do we get that going and moving? So are you in junior schools? Are you in infant schools? Are you baseline, this is where we're going to?
So we started off with just primary schools first. Like, it was the bit where I don't like to just put a plaster on the cut. I want to stop the cut in the first place. Yeah. So if it wasn't in primary school, and then we then elevated as the children grew, I think secondary schools and stuff started to see that like, hey, these kids thrived when they were with you. And so we started to work with secondary schools and then older, and we're now in universities as well. So we've got a few programs in universities, but that's just a natural expansion because they were going to grow, and then they were building the things that they were taught to build in terms of their communities.
I love how you say that so casually. It's just naturally going to grow. You've gone, I'm hitting kids age 4, 5, 6, 7. Now I'm in senior schools, so I'm going 11, 12, 13, 14, up to 16, and now I'm in universities. That's massive. Yeah. Like, that's massive.
It is, to be fair.
It really is. When you're with universities, what's the kind of structure? What do the programs look like? Like, how are you there? What's the presence?
So the university program, which is mainly based around education. So it's education, it's mentorship. We're trying to not get them overly streamlined to their grades. it's one of the biggest, loneliest and stressful places that we see for a lot of our children, and all children anyway, in terms of that place. And particularly if you're from a underserved community, you are moving out of your comfort zone, and then you're going into a space or a different part of the world or different part of the country that are not as culturally educated. Yeah. So there's two dangers there. And then adding that to isolation and loneliness, and then adding poverty to that. We saw a lot of our children will do all of those stuff. They'll go to secondary school, they'll go to colleges, they'll get their amazing A stars and so on. And then they'll get to uni, and then something happens to their mental health aspect. So there's a mentoring program called Prosper. Essentially, it's just giving you all the skills outside of just the classroom, and giving you keep reminding you about critical thinking, inviting, in our university programs, I believe 80% or 82% of the kids there have never actually met Badu from primary. So it's from the first group that went there, it's now evolved to people outside of meeting us, but still needing that access to that same space.
Yeah.
What we want to be doing now more is the activity and access to activity aspects in terms of physical activity. We did get some of them to set up a run club in university, so which was really cool, and they do that. And we just work with partners. We used to work with partners like Nike and to provide trainers and tops so they can just feel a bit, cool and proud about what they're doing. I wasn't sure if I could name drop, but sorry.
Too late now, isn't it?
we can, yeah. And we just just worked with partners to try and do that. But there was still something around culture. So it's so crazy because our culture, especially when we talk about Black, African and Caribbean families, education is everything to us. It's the most important thing to us. Sometimes education doesn't see that we value it or say we don't, but we do. It's the thing and so when young people go through to university and so on, they want to do the absolute best and they get their head down and study hard, but they have to lose something.
Yeah.
Which is essentially their physical. A lot. You can't believe how many children stop playing sports or being active the minute they start either sixth form or universities. It's a huge challenge and problem. And trying to work with education systems to try and please put in a balance, because it's that bit that will help them thrive.
Yeah.
Rather than survive. I sometimes feel like grades and just those exams are just a survival instinct of how do I just make it each time through this process. If you combine physical activity to that, it's that thriving nature that you've now got an option and a choice. That's just me. I'm no professor, so we'll leave it there.
Honorary doctor. No, but from that, I personally, I'm 100% there, because you look at it and you look how sport can develop leaders. Sport will give you that challenge. Sport will make you grit and go, okay, that was something different. I'm still learning. But because you're either doing it to challenge yourself, so you're against a clock, or you're doing it to challenge an environment, or you're part of a team, it doesn't necessarily feel like you're doing all those life skills at the same time. But it's the moment that you've taken those aspects that you've learned from sport, that's where kids and that's where young adults go, what? That was my life. That was part of my life. That was so important to me. That's a huge hole to lose, especially then when you're in an environment or you're studying or you're doing another pressurized aspect of life. Like sport can be such a relief. It can just literally unite.
100%. And the key thing for me is that, so I'm always about how can we all be better in terms of how can we live in a thriving nature. And then I sometimes listen to what the challenges to the country is, because social impact and access is the impact of everyone. Mm-hmm. So everyone thrives off it. But if we've got the amount of young people that are currently out of work or underemployed with a degree, then there was something that we didn't do right as a country or as a nation to just look at where was the bit about that. Because, and then most of it who are on benefits, there's a mental health aspect towards it as well that hasn't been their fault. It's we got it wrong. We didn't serve them properly as a nation. And by removing that, like I said, really in the start, is that critical aspect of around creativity, like sports, physical activity, combined with the academics and skill. It allows them to be problem solvers. It allows them to I know people talk about resilience, but it just allows them to build, we call it physical literacy and mental literacy in themselves, that when things are not going to be easy, however, you've got different levers to pull from, rather than if I just revise hard. It's like, no, that scenario doesn't need you to revise. That scenario needs you to have emotional, maturity, to understand how to process that. That situation needs you to learn to communicate in this way. That doesn't mean you to be in a quiet room reading a book. No, just, I need to learn to communicate this way, and someone needs to help you do that. So I think that's the thing where I'm just looking at, like, that's what we do as an organization. When I talk about social impact, is that we're just trying to think about how we can all build to improve all outcomes and utilize and do more with what we have, because we know finances are always a barrier. But being in an open field and someone to do sports or arts or conversation or walk and talk, that could happen.
And nobody really knows until they're in that situation, or they're part of that mentorship scheme, or that they are our mentor, the effect and the change that it will have on that individual. And that could be literally life-changing.
Absolutely.
For some. So there could be somebody right now listening, watching, and going, I want to get involved, or I need you in my life. How do I bring that into my child's school? How do people find you? How do they get in contact? How do you take on mentors?
Definitely. So at thebadway.com, we are not like a statutory government funded organization. I know all the things we've said we're doing, we should be, but I'm going to leave it out to the people that, even though we've been recognized by the kin and universities and academics that says this is working, but we are like, you can find us on our website, and you can, at thebadway.com, it's on our socials, I think, at the Badu Way, and then on LinkedIn, I said the Badu Way. We call it the Badu Way because it's a culture. Yeah. This is just the way we behave. And I try not to compromise on those fundamental values of culture, of humanity, essentially. So you can do that. And also through our engagement team, even like for us, although I'm talking about young people, the amount of things we do with the parents is the most rewarding thing, because they've had those experiences of like rejection, of not being seen, of lack of access, or don't have the time privileges. And we look at the health disparity aspect of it as well. So when we have parents with like sciatica problems coming in to join the sessions and learn to swim, it's why they entrust their children with us. So with our swimming programs, sometimes you'd go to we get a late slot, which is fine, and we make it work. But you go to the swimming program with some of the parents, especially some of the mums, and they are just like so loud in the changing room, because it's sometimes the first time they've actually had a conversation with another person, another female, another like mother, another like just get. So the activity wasn't just getting in the water.
Nice.
It's the community feel. It's the way that they greet each other. It's the way that during the swimathon, like some of them came to support other people that have just learned to swim. It's the way that people cook for each other.
Hold up, you've just mentioned a word. A swimathon?
Oh.
Let's go.
Honestly, that's sometimes when I'm like, we are like, honestly, I say we, and the organization, the work that people see, it's like they then see the next bit. Uh-huh. And so we have a swimathon. So every time, so when people are learning with our swimming programs, there is then a swimathon, and we try and find ways to allow them to compete and show their skills and celebrate them with their families. And we do that in a way also that it allows their children, or even their parents, or whoever it is, to see that this is also possible for you.
Yes.
So we do swimathons. This year we really went to town. I think it's the biggest number we've had. I can't quote the amount. I think it was about 40 or 50 people that did it. But starting from, once again, non-swimmers.
Yeah, zero.
Literally getting to that point, and some people doing the 16 length, or some people doing, and then some people even at the start of the swimathon who are not gonna, I just can't do this. I can't do this. And then people standing next to you like, you're gonna get in. We're just gonna wait till when you're ready, but we're getting in today. If it means we're here the whole night, because you haven't come this far to come this far.
Yeah, and it's that step in the door. It's that you rocked up to the pool. It's that you've even bought a swimming costume.
Yes.
Like, they are the motions that are going to get you to doing it. And you want to do it, or else you'd never have bought the swim costume and you'd never have walked in the door, but you just need someone who hears your voice to say, you got it.
Yeah. And jump in the water with you. Like our swimming teachers are, and I see, we don't even call them our swimming teachers, we just the Badu practitioners and how they are. It's the human being before the activity. It's that bit where when we talk about the Badu way, where there's the human being and seeing almost like the lion or lioness in them to go, okay, you might not see, but I see it in you. And so we're going to wait till when you're ready to even scratch it or get there, and we're going to jump in with you. And they do that constantly. And they don't do it in a way that, one thing I'm really proud with our organization, that we don't behave like we're saviors or godlike or so on, because we're not. It's just because also what we're not doing is saving anyone. Like, our job is to give you the access and knowledge and message, and then we don't want you to waste that opportunity or privilege. So because you must win so others can win. So it's almost like explaining the Badu way. There isn't this is really, and maybe that's why we probably don't mark ourselves enough. We don't go, this is really nice, we've done this for people, and then we might probably get more funding by doing that. But we go, now that you've done that, what happens if you're better than good? What happens to that young child thinking about being on the podium or the diving board later, or represented the country? Where is the bit where we're doing around that? Because that's the bit that has a deeper impact in the community, of seeing someone that's come from my area that's doing this. It just changes your whole dream deficit aspect when you live in an area of deprivation.
Can you spotlight any cases that just gives you that goose pimple feeling of, we've risen, so we've lifted others? Is there a child, or now maybe an adult, or indeed a member of your board that you've gone, that is a goosebump story? There is actually like so many when I think about it, particularly in like sports, like in terms of football. And I can talk about sports, but my thing is more the academics aspect, which I believe that people don't probably see, that people from our communities are that, and it's not just one excellent person, it's multiple. So our mentoring program that starts from when you're doing sports, but from 14 you're able to apply to our deeper mentoring program. And I say apply because every single person at Badu has earned their way there. We make it a thing where you have to, even if it's you mark just your name and application and just said, I'm really interested. That's your application. You showed up, essentially. But that program having, I think it's like 95% or 98% of the young people enter into university or Russell Group universities. 87% of the kids, or 88% of the young people, achieving above the national rate around academics and so on. And this is all through that program, that development, but also them accessing new spaces of what they want to learn. So it's no longer the survival or the status jobs of, I want to be a lawyer because culturally it's really good and it helps me to do that, which is fine. Nothing wrong with lawyers, by the way, if lawyers are listening to this. Or have to be a doctor as well. Once again, nothing wrong with that. But also I might want to go into engineering and be creative. I want to think about what could be innovative around this space. How can I help build something? How can I be part? I think those opening their minds to different worlds and different spaces. This is where we call that improving that access and improving that poverty of knowledge. And then they go off. So I would probably put into that our team and the amount of people that finish their masters and then who come back, and the amount of people that go, and there's lots of them that are doctors now. There's lots of them that even worked towards the vaccine as well. As like, you just go like, how are you working towards a vaccine? I remember seeing you at 7 years old. Like, how have you? What's this? And that's the thing for us, is the access within that. So I think like just the skill sets that now we're developing in our community is rounded in that. But there is one key moment of young people during COVID, in us deciding to use the rest of our money to just buy food and feed the people that will be have no access to public funds or public services because their immigration status, or there might be something with whatever it is, or just fear of trusting systems. And then we just packages food. But the key thing is the amount of young people that were lining up to help to do it. They were like, it's our responsibility. That
was that's beyond how many footballers we've got.
That's the 360.
Exactly. They knew what they were, how their parts, like they felt they belonged to the village, and so they're going to come and serve the village. And I think that for me was the bit that during COVID I was like, okay, if our kids are turning up to do something that they don't need to be seen for, not asking to be paid, not asking, they just want to be of value to their community. Yes.
I can get the goose pimples from that as well. Hey, magic wand. 12 months time, Badu looks like what? Badu has achieved what?
12 months time. I think right now the biggest thing for me is sustainability. Although I might have like a growth mindset, I'm never looking to be bigger, like, or spread wider. It's not that. I actually work deeper. Like, how do we just make sure we embedded the small change of value? And sustainability is the thing that we struggle with, which is investment or funding to keep what we're doing and learn what we're doing, and then allow others to learn from it and share that learning. But it needs to be sustainable. So that's the thing that in 12 months time, where the magic wand will be that sustainability investment. And I don't like to call it funding because it's an investment to people. So that like someone seeing it and going, we're going to invest in this and help to do that work. And then the other thing was the collaboration with people like Everyone Active. I think I want to see more of that. If people have been given opportunities and buildings and so on, them just coming with just their own strategy in an area without talking to the community and then saying that this is what we want to do. What would you like to do? And how can we meet? That's the bit in 12-month time magic wand of people that hold spaces and some power and access. How are they working with the most underserved groups with true social impact? Because the partnership that we're doing around swimming, it's not even just about people learning to swim. It's about them learning to play water polo.
Yeah. I heard that actually.
It's actually, it's like, no, this isn't with the swimming bit. It's like, that's your right. They're now
a club link as well.
Yeah.
West London Penguins?
I think so, yeah. West London Penguin, yes, that we're working with. And this is what Everyone Active has kind of done in terms of their access to somewhere and what they know. They can now be the glue because they have the space. And I think that's the thing that, and then we're not duplicating. I think we're sharing learning. What I would really like to see as well in the next 12 months or plan to do is a triathlon on the Olympic Park, utilizing all the buildings, utilizing the Olympic legacy. And then we have to then bring in 3 different sports and 3 different disciplines. One that allows people to explore and run around the Olympic Park and see that it's theirs, especially those who live in or around of it. The cycling aspect, the amount of people in our community that sometimes don't get access to cycling, and also knowing that there's cycling routes and then there's other buildings here are here. And then the most important thing is the swimming aspect of things, just being able to do it in a leisure centre that allows that reduces that fear factor of open water straight away, and also then getting everyone to learn to swim locally. And then now we've got more people like invested in that place. So I think that would be such an amazing feat to have a regular triathlon session and really local, keep it really simple, and let's make that happen. That would be amazing. That would be a vibe.
It would totally will. Thank you. I love that I've had the privilege of meeting you. Okay, team, that's been thrown out there.
Yeah.
Triathlon, around the Olympic Park. We've got the pool.
Yeah.
Teams out there with bikes, teams out there with run coaches. You've heard it, you're listening to it. Let's do it.
Literally.
Let's do it. It's there. I love that. I love your summary though of it is investment. It absolutely is investment. And team, if you are watching, listening, anything, and you're like, I'm there, I could open this door, we want to do this, can you come and educate us?
Yeah.
We'll put all the contact details to Badu underneath podcast, so people have got access linked to you. And you said you're all over Instagram.
Yep.
And we can find you that way.
Definitely.
Honestly, thank you so much for coming into the podcast.
Thank you for having me.
And team, as always, the messages are there. It's so important. Please please share, please spread the love. And if you do have any questions that can't use the website links below, please email us in on podcast@everyoneactive.com and I will gladly pass those emails over. So team, thank you for listening. Thank you for being an amazing guest.
Thank you for having me.
My pleasure. And team, we will see you soon. Take care.